Good afternoon, everyone. It is Monday. It is just afternoon, and it is the 12th of December. Crazy. All right. Well, I am so honored to be here again. Jennifer Tim with the Welcome Home Global Group, here with your weekly market update. So you know what's going on. It certainly is an interesting time, and I know we're very distracted with holidays and holiday shopping and all the plans that go with that. And in Southern California, it's actually been a little chilly. We had some rain yesterday and this morning, which we're so grateful for. But we're hopefully all taking time to enjoy what the season has to offer. Okay, so let's get started with today. So our question is, and I have had this, should I wait until 2023 to buy a home? So we're looking at this from a buyer's perspective. As always, we are going to start out with our national news, what's going on there. This is a very important week, and I'll explain that. Then we'll have a look at a true national update on what's been going on. Then we'll have a look a little closer to home, and then, of course, our 4 city areas. So most important thing, final 3 major economic events of the year are going to take place this week. So the biggest report will be the CPI Consumer Price Index report, which is going to come out on Tuesday. So that's tomorrow. And that is really having a look at where we are with inflation. So very important. Then following that on Wednesday is the big Fed meeting. Now, this is where they're going to decide what they're going to do with the Fed rate. It is expected, as the Feds have indicated, that they don't think that inflation is quite where they want it to be. And we are expecting a 50 basis point rate hike. How does that translate to our mortgage rates? Well, of course, as soon as they increase the Fed rates, it increases the 10-year Treasury. Mortgage rates follow the 10-year Treasury because it's all about the bond portfolio and reselling those. So we will know some more information. So check out your local news sources. There'll definitely be some response to whichever direction the Feds decide to go. And then following that on Thursday, because we know that inflation is definitely a global concern right now, the European Central Bank will meet on Thursday, and they're also expected to increase their rates in an attempt to drop down the rate of inflation. So very important week. Some people feel that for the mortgage rates, a lot of these rate increases have already been absorbed. Time will tell. None of us have that crystal ball. So what has happened? We know, and this is a report from The Economist at the National Association of Realtors, that last week, according to Freddie Mac, the rates for a 30-year fixed dropped to 6.33%. So we have seen, because again, we know that they went over 7%, which is really a 20-year high for interest rates, and the rate of acceleration is the fastest in 40 years. So we know that they've come down a little bit. And the discussion point around this is that second paragraph. With a 6% mortgage rate, housing will become more affordable for many buyers. While the typical family cannot currently afford to buy a medium-priced home as the qualifying income exceeds earned income, housing will become favorable again for Americans if rates hover near 6%. In this scenario, the typical family will earn about $1,000 more than the income needed to purchase a mid-priced home. And the prediction is, if those rates sort of hover closer around the 6%, then we're going to see more buyers back in the market, and we should see that real estate market starting to normalize, because we've definitely had a major roller coaster. So that's an interesting perspective. We will see what happens. Of course, everyone is looking into their crystal balls right now. Time will tell for sure. So as an area director for 72 Sold, which is the top selling program in the country, absolutely honored to align with them and help our sellers get more money than the general average, and look out for more information about that in the coming weeks. So this is an update that we got through them. This is from Sarah Perkins, Clear Title. So looking at supply. And, you know, we know this, that we're in the holiday market. There's so few people who really are going to put themselves out there to sell the home unless they really are motivated to do so. Available single family homes declined by 2.5% last week. And as I say, this is a report from the 9th. New listings, only 35,000 new listings nationally listed, 30% fewer new listings than at any time in the past several years. So again, remember, we've talked about this. Sellers are hunkering down because, number one, it's the time of year. And number two, because many sellers refinanced at those historically low rates of, 3% or less than 3%. And many of them are just not interested in looking at a higher interest rate unless they're really motivated to sell. More delisted homes. So these are homes that are coming off the market because they didn't sell. And that is something we'll have a look at in January. I know personally of a couple of sellers, not our sellers, but sellers on the market who have decided this just isn't the right time for them, and they pulled their properties off the market. And also some of them have converted them into rentals rather than selling them. So available single family homes for sale, this just gives you an idea. And then all the way to the right, available inventory of unsold single family homes drops by 2.5% post Thanksgiving to 549,000. Again, that's nationally. This is crazy. Now, normal. It's absolutely normal that we see the decline. This is the holiday market that basically starts in November, and we don't come out of this market until we're into January. And as that highlighted section says, listings will decline for about 6 weeks. And the third week of January is when you start seeing people coming back onto the market because they've then recovered from the holidays. They have hopefully paid those credit card bills. They've taken care of everything and they're ready to start the process for the new year. Demand. Obviously, demand immediate sales, fewer immediate sales last week than the week between Christmas and New Year in 2021. Pending sales, November was the 5th month in a row for pending sales declines. So remember, this is what the Fed was going with. And a lot of this has to do with the interest rates because the Feds wanted the buying frenzy to stop. And the way they did that was to increase the mortgage rates in the hopes that prices would come down, which they have in some markets and others not as much as buyers would hope. And then this was their rate that they quoted on Friday, and we do know that it went a little lower than the 6.49 quoted here. Showing time. So showing time is a system that many agents use to schedule showings on the listings, and they have some interesting data as well. And as you can see on the West Coast, there's been a 50.3% decline in requests for showings. And then you can see the numbers for the rest of the country. So it definitely shows demand is down. There aren't as many buyers out there trying to look at properties. Homes taking price reductions. Again, this is national. Currently, that big bold line over here, our peak was November 18th. Currently, 42.5% of homes on the market have taken a price cut. The first drop is typically, the largest majority is after 3 weeks, because it's normally you put the house on the market, you're waiting those 2 to 3 weeks, and then that first price reduction happens. Now, their comment here, January will start with listings with a lot of reductions. That is going to be very market specific. And the tendency there is the sellers are getting a little more serious. So maybe they've let the properties linger and languish on the market. And then they get to that point where they say, okay, well, no, I really need to sell now. But it's time. I've got the energy, I've got the time and the focus. What do we need to do? And 9 times out of 10, that price reduction is what is necessary. Okay, median asking prices. So let's stop on this one for a minute. So new listing asking prices are down 5.4% week over week, nearly 17% since the peak in May, and flat, that's really important, year over year. So what this is telling us is that sellers are starting to catch up with what we've seen in the market, that it is not a good idea to add the buffer to your listing price for buyer negotiations, which we often hear that that sellers want to do, because they know that buyers are going to come back. And, especially because buyers do have a little more leverage right now because the demand is down and there isn't as much competition and, all those other things. So just realize that it's flat year over year. So that means that, and that was the Fed's intent as well, is they wanted to stop this totally crazy situation of sellers saying, well, listen, I know the house next door was listed at $1 million, but gosh, it sold for 1.2. So let's use 1.2 as our starting point and let's add another 100,000 to that. And then they go on to the market at 1.3. So this is starting to show us that sellers are catching up with the reality of what's been happening in the market. Just as an example, we have some buyers. We're actually opening escrow today. We got everything executed yesterday. And you know what? Multiple offer situation. And I don't believe, our offer was definitely not right at the list price. So there was some negotiation. Our buyers did get counted back and they did go up a little higher in what they were offering, but it's still below the list price. Close, but it is below. It wasn't that crazy situation. And actually that property had sat on the market for almost 3 months without going into escrow. And it was only when they did a price reduction, then renewed all their marketing, and then this property then popped up for our buyers. And this was basically where their budget was. And yeah, we're so honored to have won that multiple offer situation for our buyers, and we're going steaming ahead to get through escrow as cleanly and smoothly as possible. All right, the rental market has also seen some interesting adjustments. And, it's kind of counter, because at one point, because we knew a lot of buyers were now, or potential buyers were no longer able to buy, that they went back to renting. At one point, the rents shot up. And yet what we're seeing here is month over month rent growth by market. And if we look at LA is down, and we're in between. So we're going to look at LA and San Diego. Of course, nobody has Orange County listed in here. And that's down 0.6%. So, and we have a lease listing at the moment. And that's honestly the situation. We had hoped that there was enough tenant demand that we would get our property, basically get some good applications pretty quickly. And it's taking a little longer. So even the rental market is seeing a little adjustment. The other thing is that there are more lease properties that have come on, because as I say, some sellers have said, well, listen, there is a fairly strong rental market. It certainly hasn't crashed by any means. And you know what? Rather than maybe selling for less than what they'd hoped, they've looked at the numbers and they've decided they're going to lease the property rather than sell the property. So it is an interesting dynamic. Demand is definitely down, even on Zillow, where normally, we've promoted the property there. We're on all the top sites. We're seeing fewer inquiries about the lease listing than you would normally see. So I think, again, it's our holiday market. Well, not, I know it's the holiday market and people don't really want to move. We do anticipate that we'll get a flood of applications in the new year when everyone's ready to, okay, I'm done with the holidays and I'm ready to pack and move, and I'm looking for a great property that's west of the I-5, close to the beaches. You know the story. So what else are we seeing out there in the news? So this is just a couple of different things. So this is from Redfin, and the total number of homes for sale increased 15% year over year during the last 4 weeks ending December 4th, the biggest uptick since at least 2015. New listings declined by more than 20%. So it's like if we go up, we go down. Which means homes are sitting on the market as prospective buyers stay on the sidelines and wait for mortgage rates and home prices to decline further from their peaks. It's also experienced by a slowing market. A typical home that sold was on the market for 37 days, up from a record low of 17 days in June and up 28 days a year earlier. So the big thing is, a lot of this is going to be very, very market specific. It's going to be neighborhood specific. So again, buyers, it's really important to work with a great agent who can help you understand what is going on in the market that you are attempting to buy in. This again talks about the reports, the inflation report that's coming out tomorrow, and then the Fed's meeting. So much of that is going to determine what the future looks like. So we're very anxious to hear that. And there will definitely be lots of reports on that one. Home prices fell from a year earlier in 11 of the 50 most populous US metros, mostly in California. So let's look at that. Obviously, we're in Southern California. We want to get a better idea of what's going on there. And we know as well that some of the markets have really gone down fast. Some of them are starting to rally and come back up. Home sale prices, so home sale prices, so this is what it actually sold for, not what it listed for, fell from a year earlier in 11 of the 50 most populous US metros, 6 are in California. Prices fell 7.8% in San Francisco, 3.6% San Jose. California, we've got Los Angeles, 2.2% in Los Angeles. So it has dropped. But then there's also areas where things have dropped a lot less. And again, it's so important when we do this to look again at our local, and actually I'm going to go ahead and then we'll go back. And I shared this with everyone last week. So this was the latest Stephen Thomas report. We should have another one arriving in our inbox this evening. And this is just that reminder, when we look at this highlighted very untidily, I apologize, but this is our list price to sold price ratio. In a lot of our areas, we are still seeing properties that are selling very close to the list price. So that does tell us that once those properties go into escrow, that is a true market value. The buyers are seeing the worth of actually paying that much for them. And there may be a little bit of a negotiation, as was for our buyers that we have in escrow right now. Okay, so let's just go back. So what are we seeing as far as interest rates are concerned? These are our local lenders. As you can tell, even though we have those federal levels that are in the 6s, a lot of our lenders, our lender partners, are able to offer less than that. Some of them involve paying for a point. So very important to make sure that you understand that. But again, so important to shop around. So these are jumbos from Wells Fargo. And again, make sure that you understand that there are discount points that are available in order to qualify for these. But buyers, if you need to buy right now, we don't know for sure what's going to happen with the interest rates. Do we anticipate they're going to come down? Yes. Are they going to come down to the 2s and the 3s? Highly unlikely. Are we going to see 4s next year? I am not in the first couple of months, that's for sure. So a lot's going to depend on what we hear this week from those Fed meetings. Okay, just a reminder again, properties are staying on the market a little longer. However, when the properties are priced correctly, you're not necessarily going to escape multiple offers, as we discovered with our offer that we just won. We were one of 3. During our crazy selling time, we probably would have been one of 20 offers. So we're very grateful that it was only 3 and the buyers were in a position to understand what their budget was and understand their strategy. They understood what their limits were so that they knew they were comfortable with what they were able to come back with. Let's have a look at some of our local cities. So starting with Dana Point. As you can see from the graph over here, we are still sitting in a seller's market. Our median list price, 3.3, almost 3.4 million. And our average median days on market is 70. So that's following those trends. We're in that more of a balanced market. Our price decrease. So we do have 45% of the properties that are on the market. Not that there are many, because if we look at inventory, there's 40 homes on the market in Dana Point. So these are single family homes. and 45% have probably had a price reduction. The median rent, 6,500. But we are still in a slight seller's market because our inventory is so low. Laguna Beach, our median list price, so again, sellers advantage sitting right on that border, is 4.1 million, and our median days on market is 91. So again, we're in that range of the seller's market, the balanced market. Price decreases 42%, our inventory 85, median rent is 11,000. San Clemente, a slightly stronger seller's advantage, median list price 1.9 million, median days on market 56. So again, that's on the seller advantage side. Inventory of 92, and it's just been going down and down and down. So just a couple. So even though we don't have a massive number of properties going into escrow, there are enough going to escrow and selling every week that we just keep seeing that inventory go down. Median rent is 6,000. And yeah, seller's market, San Juan, median list price 2.1 million. Our median days on market 70. Our price decrease is 44%. So we're all sitting more or less the same there. Inventory 27 homes in San Juan Capistrano, and your median rent is 7.2. It is still a strong market in Southern California. So bottom line, if you're a buyer, should you wait until 2023 to buy a home? And my response to that is going to be a couple of points. Number one, if you're waiting because you're anticipating that there will be a massive reduction in list prices, it's not going to happen. We just, slight adjustments, yes, but we're still seeing properties, the proportion, the percentage of sold to list price is so close to 100%. So it's not going to happen. What you are going to see is more choices. So you will see more homes come onto the market, but at the same time, you're going to see more competition because more buyers are going to come out. So again, it very much depends on what is your time frame of when you would like to buy a home. And the inventory is going to take a while to tick up. So if you're waiting for the perfect home, you're not going to escape having multiple offers, because your perfect home, especially if it's that modern, move-in ready, white kitchen that everyone's looking for, updated, renovated, all the rest of it, you are not the only buyer who's out there looking for that. And so you've got to be prepared for the multiple offer situation, which is going to happen, more than likely going to happen. Interest rates, they may come down a little bit. This week is going to be a big determining factor for that. It wasn't enough for our buyers that we have in escrow right now. For them, they found a house that checked the majority of their boxes. They knew what their budget was. They understand what the market is doing right now, and they didn't look at this. And that's what I would say to you buyers as well. If you're looking for this to be their 2 to 3 year investment, maybe that's something you need to stop and think about, because we don't know enough yet to know what we're going to look like in a couple of years. But this family could see themselves living in that house for the next 7 to 10 years. It made perfect sense for them, and the price was in their budget. It is slightly below list price, and they are good to go. So that is the whole thing. You've got to understand all the different criteria and then see if it's the right time for you. Our advice is always hire a real estate consultant who can truly guide you through the process, help you understand the market, whether you're a seller or a buyer. Sellers, price ahead of the market, condition and location equals the price. Do not add in a buffer, because days on market stacking up is the kiss of death to achieving that top price. You're just not, buyers can see through that at the moment. They definitely have the right advice, and majority of buyers have an agent representing them. Staging is essential. That home has got to look beautiful online. There aren't that many options out there, but at the same time, that gives buyers who are looking online more time to kind of look at that property and say, oh, I really like the way this looks. So cluttered, not going to work. You want to depersonalize, declutter, get a stager in there. Even if you don't do a full home staging, stagers are going to give you advice on what to put away, what to add in, how to create those little splashes of color, and how to really make your home attractive online. We are in the holiday market and demand is down and inventory will just keep going down. Buyers, yeah, it's you've got to understand the market. You've got to know your budget, get your financial ducks in a row, have everything ready to go. Because just like for my buyers, this property was outside of their budget, price reduction came in and it hit other buyers' price range at the same time, which is why there was a multiple offer situation. Be ready to make a move when that property hits. That's going to check the majority of your boxes. That 100% perfect property is never going to be there unless you've got an unlimited budget and you don't mind ending up somewhere where location-wise may not be the best for you. It's all about having a strategy. So with that, excuse me, I want to thank everybody. I have a little bit of the allergies and the cold, hopefully nothing more than that that's hitting me. And as you prepare for the holidays, I hope that you're remembering to spend enough time with those that you care about the most in your life. Spend time with friends and family. This is such an amazing time of the year. And we will be back next week for a really quick update. And then we'll be taking 2 weeks off so that we can focus on our families as well. Just from doing these, obviously, we're still going to be working and helping our clients, but we're going to take a little slower over those 2 weeks over the holiday and the new year. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We would be so honored to share with you the information that's going to empower and educate you to make the best decision for you and your family. And with that, have an amazing week.